All right, let's dive into one of the most famously confusing plays ever written, Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot. You've probably heard of it. It's the play where, supposedly, nothing happens twice. So, if that's true, why are we still talking about it? Why has it gripped people for decades? Well, let's figure that out together.
The play kicks off with a line that tells you pretty much everything you need to know. Nothing to be done. Just 4 simple words from one of our main characters, Estragon. And boom, you can feel the sense of helplessness that's just gonna hang over this entire story. It sets the tone perfectly.
And this immediately forces us to ask a really weird question. What if the whole point of a story was that there is no point? I know, it sounds kind of crazy, but that's the challenge Beckett throws at us. He wants to completely flip our idea of what a story is supposed to be.
So yeah, for years, Waiting for Godot has had this reputation, right? The play where nothing happens. And honestly, on the surface, that's not wrong. The plot is incredibly simple. 2 guys, Vladimir and Estragon, are waiting by a lonely tree for someone named Godot. And that's it. That's the whole shebang.
The cast is tiny. You've got our main duo, Vladimir, who's kind of the thinker, and Estragon, who's more about the here and now, and also forgets things constantly. Their waiting game gets interrupted by these 2 totally bizarre characters, a loud, bossy guy named Pazzo and his slave, Lucky, who he treats horribly. And of course there's the 5th character, Godot, the one person who never, ever shows up.
So, you might be thinking, if nothing happens, where's the story? Well, this is where it gets brilliant. The waiting is the story. See, this isn't just about 2 guys waiting for a friend. It's a huge metaphor for the human condition, for how all of us are, in some way, waiting for something to show up and give our lives meaning.
This whole idea puts the play right into a category called the theater of the absurd. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. Absurdist theater looks at this terrifying idea. What if human life has no built-in meaning? What if the universe just doesn't care? Waiting for Godot is probably the most famous example of this, stripping everything away to show us that stark reality.
Think about any normal story. You expect action, right? You expect the characters to move forward, to make progress, and you definitely expect some kind of resolution at the end. Well, Beckett takes that rulebook and just throws it out the window. Instead of action, we get inaction. Instead of progress, we get repetition. And instead of a resolution, we get stasis. Nothing changes.
Really, what this play is doing is holding up a mirror. Their endless, pointless waiting? It's our own struggle with existence. It reflects that deep-down human need to have a purpose, to get some kind of sign that we're not just here by accident.
Okay, so if you're stuck in this endless loop of waiting, what do? How do you keep from going crazy? You find ways to pass the time, and for Vladimir and Estragon, their weird, rambling, sometimes hilarious conversations are basically a game to fill the silence and distract them from, the crushing emptiness of it all.
And their methods for passing the time are all over the place. 1 minute is just silly, nonsensical banter. The next, they're playing little word games, or just contradicting each other for the heck of it. They even get into deep stuff, like the Bible, or even think about suicide. Literally anything to fill the void.
Estragon really nails it with this line. It's all about giving them the impression that they exist. Their words aren't really about sharing deep thoughts. They're a survival tool. It's how they prove to themselves that they're real, right here, right now.
Okay, it's time to tackle the million-dollar question, the one thing everyone wants to know after seeing this play. Who or what is Godot? Let's unpack this a bit.
The most straightforward answer is that Godot is just a person, maybe an employer, someone who made them a promise. The play keeps it super vague. In fact, what's really funny is that Vladimir and Estragon admit they wouldn't even recognize the guy if you walked right up to them.
But what if Godot isn't a person at all? I mean, come on, Godot sounds a whole lot like God, right? A lot of people think he represents something much bigger, like salvation or purpose or some kind of divine sign they're desperately waiting for.
But maybe the most powerful way to look at it is this. Godot isn't a person or a god. Godot is just the name they give to their hope. He's a total blank slate. He represents whatever it is they think will arrive and finally give their lives meaning. He is the reason to keep waiting. And that right there leads us to the play's darkest, most tragic twist. The very thing that's keeping them going, their hope, is actually their prison. At the end of each day in the play, a little boy shows up, and he always has the exact same message. Mr. Godot isn't coming today, but surely tomorrow.
And that one little phrase, surely tomorrow, is the hook. It's just enough hope to keep them from ever leaving. It locks them right into place.
And so they're trapped in this repeating cycle, this loop. It always starts with anticipation. Today's the day. Then comes distraction. They play their games to kill time. Then, inevitably, comes the disappointment. He's not coming. And what's the last step? Repetition. They decide to come back the next day and do it all over again. Their hope keeps them from ever being free.
The play ends with one of them saying, "Well, shall we go?" And the other says, "Yes, let's go." But the very last line of the play, the stage direction, is simple and absolutely chilling. They do not move. After all that talk, all that waiting, they're completely paralyzed. They can't act. It's just a devastating final image.
And this is why the play is still so powerful. It's not really about Vladimir and Estragon. It holds a mirror up to us and asks a really uncomfortable question. What's the Godot in our own lives? What promise of surely tomorrow is keeping us stuck today? In the end, Beckett's not just telling a story. He's asking us to look at ourselves. So I'll leave you with that same question. What are you waiting for?